Welcome to another edition of the Giants Huddle podcast brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. Today we're going to be joined by Penn State defensive line coach Deion Barnes as we continue to talk to all the assistant coaches for the Giants draft picks this year and kind of get the insight into the college career and what they are all about. Coming to you from the Hackensack Meridian Health podcast studio, keep getting better. And of course, you should go back and check out all the other interviews we've done with these position coaches talking about these Giants rookies. You really get some great insight, stuff that I hadn't known or heard about before to really get you to know these players. And now we're joined by the defensive line coach for the Penn State Nittany Lions. He coached up Abdul Carter, among other really good pass rushers as well that have come out of that Penn State program in the last couple of years. Deion Barnes, coach, how are you? Appreciate you giving us some time.
Appreciate it, Tom. Doing great. Trying to get the next one out here too.
So now let me level set first. You had Abdul in your room for just that 1 year, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So how quickly was he able to mentally adjust to maybe some of the different responsibilities and jobs that he had as an edge player versus when he played off-ball linebacker?
The plays was easy for him. He's a smart kid. He knew how to be able to adjust to the plays, but it was just the feel and the reps that he needed. And I would say after spring ball, he started understanding even more. Training camp is where he fully took off. And you could see the difference as far as, him actually getting comfortable, being in a position, knowing the angles, and understanding the run and pass box.
How does he learn? Is he more of a watch tape guy? Is he a whiteboard guy? Does he have to get out onto the field and rep it before he really gets it? What kind of learner is he?
In the meeting room, he catches it fast. So you put it on the board or you talk about it in film, he catches that fast. And then we get on the field, he learned from experience. So the play, like I said, the plays is not hard for him. That's the easy part for him. Is just, the small adjustments as far as the techniques, stuff like that. That's what he got to learn. And that just comes from doing and the muscle memory with him. So he really a quick learner.
You mentioned, picking up the techniques and stuff. And the one thing that amazed me when I turned on the tape, getting ready for the draft, and I watched all his pass rush stuff, and I knew he was only an edge guy for 1 year. So I was expecting one of these guys that, wins with speed a lot, gets around the edge. And then I'm going through it. I'm making my notes and I'm like, all right, there's one move. There's another move. There's another move. There's another move. For this guy to have a full bag of pass rush moves in just 1 year at the position, how was he able to pick up that much so quickly, having only been in your room for that 1 year?
That's his attention to detail and the work ethic. That's what goes into it. So he was on my hip the whole time, like, Coach, what else I need to learn? And then he would practice that before and after practice. So it was all the extra work that he put in to be able to master all that stuff. That's why you see him pick it up quickly.
Now, he had done some of that stuff in high school, right? So how much of that stuff kind of came naturally back to him, given what he had, given how he had been on the edge in the past a little bit?
When he was playing with the South, he was at linebacker most of the time, but he was just a natural pass rusher. God gave him that gift, but the things that he already came with was that get off, his bend, and really all I told him was the couple moves and techniques to be able to help him, excel as far as to the quarterback a little bit faster. But no, you can't teach the get off. You can't teach that bend. You're just pointing out things that make him better. So he came with those type of tools already.
What was some of the stuff that he picked up quickest? Was it the hand usage, the chop stuff? Was it kind of like the dip and the rip move to come back up? What was some of the stuff that he kind of picked up quickest? And what were some of the things that were maybe more of a process that you had to work through with him?
I think the things he picked up the quickest was just understanding the angle towards the quarterback, because the hands. That took him a little bit of time, but once he got it down, that was easy for him after that. So it took him a little bit as far as working the hands with the double swipes and the chops and all that. Just knowing when to use it, basically. The harder part for him was the technique as far as the run game, because that's more footwork and handwork. So it took him a little bit to be able to finalize that. So I think in training camp, that's where he picked it up. All right, when I'm going against the tight end, this is what my footwork looked like. This is where my hand should be at. And he started getting a little bit better adjusted as far as how to play the run game. And obviously, he had 23 and a half tackles for loss last year, so he adjusted well to that.
Yeah, we haven't really seen the power yet this offseason. I want to get to the run game in a second because the pads aren't on for spring practice for us. They're not allowed a lot of contact. So I haven't seen the bull rush in person yet. Where is he in terms of his power rush? We obviously seen the quickness, the speed, the suddenness, some of the hand stuff you talked about. Where is he, in your opinion, in terms of his bull rush and having that complement to the speed and bend that he obviously has on the outside?
You'll see it once you get vertical setters. That's another thing I think that he understands well is when you get a certain set what to go to. I think if he get a vertical setter, we hadn't seen that much vertical setters. I remember at UCLA last year was the first time somebody really tried to kick out and try to beat the speed guy, and he went speed to power on that guy. You can see he can be able to implement that in his game. So it just depends on the set. So if he got a guy that he feel like short setting or a guy he could beat quickly inside, he's gonna do that.
Is he good at studying his opponent during the week and finding some of those weaknesses that he can exploit on a weekly basis?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's all he do. He love ball. So that's all he gonna do is sit and watch ball. He probably gonna be in there all day watching different ways he can be able to. He gonna come up with game plans and stuff like that himself. I mean, I think he did that. Not think he did do that. Like he was like, "Hey, coach, we should run this game. I seen this when these guys did that." That's type of stuff he brings to the game. He a true student of the game.
And you talked about his instincts, right? How naturally during the game, when he gets the sideline after a series, picking things up, seeing it on the field, relaying it to the coach, to his teammates. All right, well, you know what? They're doing this to us. Maybe we should try this. Maybe we should try that.
Yeah, he do a good job of that. I think during the game he more seeing what I see. He just see he would come to me, see, all right, what do you see, coach? I got this. How do I counter that? So I think in the game time he like, all right, I tried what I had to try, coach. What you think? And then he'll do what I tell him. Like, for example, we playing against I can't remember the team, but he kept getting chipped by the running back. Then he understood, like, coach, how do I beat this chip? And then he just started spinning off the chip when I told him spin when you about to get chipped by the running back. So he do a good job of listening during the game and try to adjust to that.
Giants Huddle Podcast is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. From game day celebrations to your everyday financial needs, Big Blue fans can get the most out of every moment with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants.
If you want to know how to manage 2 minutes of crunch time football, I'm your man. But if you're wondering about a long-term financial plan, you should talk to Citizens. Hey, I can also talk lawn care.
I'd like to learn about a mowing routine.
Yes, I knew I could help. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
All right, you mentioned the run game stuff. You mentioned the tackles for loss, and I think he did a great job when I watched him leading up to the draft. He shoots gaps really well, right? He's able to shoot the gap, get upfield, and get into the backfield. How did you see his progress? And I think that probably did, come from some of the outside linebacker stuff, seeing those holes and hitting them quickly. How did he do in terms of setting the edge, really, using his length, getting out on the edge, keeping contained when teams were kind of running that outside zone to his side?
I thought he did a good job of that. He understands angles really well. I keep going back to that. So
Yeah.
if that guy's coming hard to him and he know he quicker than the guy, he gonna go up and under that guy. But when you get just a normal setting, he got to set the edge. He had no problem doing that. When the tight end tried to down block him, he had no problem doing that. He was really good. He's a small, like he might look like a smaller guy, but he's a powerful guy.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was talking to Jermaine Illuminor the other day. He's our starting right tackle. And I was asking him about what it was like blocking Abdul, and he said, look, he actually does remind me in terms of his movement skills of Micah a little bit. And he said to me, the thing that stands out about Micah Parsons is that he's, 250, but he has the power of like a 280-pound guy. And that's what really makes the difference for these guys that are great athletes. They also have to have that power quotient, right?
Yeah, he is explosive, and his hands, he got powerful hands, which he's gonna create knockback every time by doing that.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you on that 100%. What part of his game, coach, as an edge player, do you think was enhanced by his experience playing outside linebacker? How did that help him be a better edge player, his experience being off the ball and maybe seeing things in a more holistic way?
Formation recognition, understanding what's coming to him, understanding when it's going to be a pass, when it's going to be a run, when the ball is coming to him, or when it's going away. I think that helped him out a lot. And then being closer to the ball, having that being on the backside of it, and then being close to the ball, now he knows exactly how he can make the play on these certain plays.
Did he? Because I'm sure when he was an off-ball guy, he would understand what the whole defense was doing, right? Has he brought that approach to being an edge guy where he's not just, all right, this is what I got to do in this play, this is my job? Does he understand everything that's going on around him, which I think in a lot of ways can then help you make adjustments over the course of the game as teams start to, make their adjustments in game plan against you?
I can't speak on if he know corners and safeties and all other
Right,
stuff.
of course.
But he does, as far as like, with a similar system, or if he hears something, he gonna have that type of recall to remember, linebackers supposed to be here and where the gaps. I think he knows exactly where everybody as far as accountable in their gaps.
We talked about him as an edge player, and you kind of referenced him too. I just think as a blitzer, and the Giants have a couple of the really good edge guys, right? They have Kayvon Thibodeaux, they have Brian Burns. So I think on third down, it wouldn't shock me if the Giants, line them up off ball, line them up over the center, line them up in a B gap, something like that to try to get some mismatches, get all three guys on the field. How is he in terms of an instinctual blitzer and rushing off the ball, not just from the edge spots?
I think that's one of the best things he do. No matter who's blocking him, center guard, running back, whoever it is, you just try and create a one-on-one. Create a one-on-one, he's just gonna feel where your leverage at and go against it. And he gonna use his hips and his bend to be able to beat you. I think that's the best thing that he does is he got the ability to be able to win his one-on-one no matter who he lines up against.
And I know you mentioned it before. Does he have a different set of moves based on, all right, well, I'm going against a tackle this time. He's a little bit longer. He's a little bit bigger. All right, but this play, I'm against a little like phone booth guard who has a little shorter arms. Does he adjust his rush plan based on where he's lined up against that opponent in any given game?
A lot of it is feel. You can tell he feels when certain guys is going to set. But yeah, he got a plan, and then sometimes he'll try some things. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll see him spin, and you'll see him do different things that he see that he could be able to do. So it all depends on who the guy is. But like you said, it's a feel. He's going to him and attacking. If he feel like the guy oversetting going to win inside, feel like he could be the one on the edge, he's going to do that. Or he's going to play with his feet. You see him play like a basketball player at times, use his feet to be able to jab inside and come out. So it all depends on, the leverage that guy given.
How would a couple of the guys you had that came out the previous couple of years, Chop Robinson and Deion Isaac, both really good pass rushers too. How is he different than those guys? And you know what? And if you want to throw Mike into the mix, you can do that too.
Yeah, I wasn't here with Micah, but
yeah, I didn't think you were. That's why I didn't include him.
Yeah, he's. I think Abdul could play anywhere as far as we put him on the center, wherever it was, and he had different speed. I think Chop, his get off was really similar, probably better than Abdul's, but Abdul's get off and his bend is elite. That's one thing. I remember Chop came to that game we played against Notre Dame. It was like, yo, this dude can bend something crazy. Like I ain't never seen nothing like this before. So I think that part of his game, and we talking about Chop who can run damn near on the ground. And then Adisa is really good with his hands, good with using his length. That part of the game I feel like Adisa is really good at. But with with Abdul, he can do it all. Obviously, we'll see the power, but he can do it all. So I think it's just different games for different body sizes. Try kind of hard comparing Adisa and Abdul because it's just different body types and different things they do.
Huddle up, get in here. If you're lined up here, you gotta go over the middle with it to score.
Right. How do we make that happen?
I don't know, but Citizens does.
Make sense of your money with Citizens, official bank of Eli Manning.
His approach to the game, and I think we saw it, right? He played hurt late in the year for you guys, but he still came out at one of his best games of the year while he was playing hurt late in the year. And just talking to him, Coach, he has a seriousness and an edge about him as a football player, which I think when you're talking about defensive linemen and edge players, that's what you want. Mm-hmm. Can you just kind of paint a picture for the fans out there, just how he approaches the game and his general attitude towards the game of football?
He wants to be the best. He want to rise at the most aptitude. The biggest games. His mindset is, I'm going to try to make plays to help us win. The biggest thing is he wants to win. So you're going to see him frustrated, and he's going to call people out when nothing doesn't align with winning. So he is a winner. So everything that aligns with winning and everything that has to do with winning, that's what he's all about.
Is he more of a big talking leader guy, or is he more of a lead by example type of guy?
He's going to lead by example. He's not going to talk that much. He's only going to talk when it's needed.
Okay, I think that. How about in the meeting room? When is he very vocal in the meeting rooms with guys? Is there a lot of conversation with him, or is it more just kind of locked in on focused and writing his notes and kind of learning what he needs to learn?
He talk that's when we talk when he is needed. As far as something that we can help a younger guy out, but besides that, he's just trying to take all the information. If he sees something that he doesn't agree with, he'll say something on it. Besides that, he's trying to figure out how he can, be the best on the field. And that's truly his mindset. He want to be the best on the field. He want to leave a legacy to be the best. And he wants to win.
As he left your program, what were some of the areas that you were still really locking in with him on and fine-tuning with him in terms of his game?
I mean, it's like 1,000 things I could go through right now as a D-line coach, so I'm very, I'm going to critique every part of his game. So that's hard to say right now because that's a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Not that he was lacking on some things, but I'm a perfectionist. I want to be perfect at everything. So that's a lot of things right there. I would love for him to be better in the ranking. I'd love for him to be even more dominant in pass rush, So you're talking about small, little, minute things that I'm always critiquing and trying to coach. So it's always going to be something.
No, absolutely. Any piece of advice that you gave him specifically heading to that next level you would experience at the next level with the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs. Any advice that you gave him that you said, look, these are some of the things that you're either going to have to improve on or change or do differently when you get to the NFL level in order to have the level of success that he wants to have?
Always craft. No matter what, you craft at all times and, be yourself. Don't try to do anything else but be yourself. And then by being himself is a hardworking dude that loves football. So that's what I just give him small things. I'm going to critique when I got to critique. So when I go on PFF and I watch the film, I'm going to send him messages and stuff like that. But besides that, just be himself and work as hard as he possibly can. That's the biggest thing I told him.
And I imagine he seems like a guy that's a self-motivator, right? That he's going to look at the stuff on his own, see the stuff he needs to critique, and he's going to take care of that even when he's not at the facility.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely him.
That's awesome. All right, I got two more for you, Coach. One, do you have any just kind of stories or anecdotes of your experiences with Abdul that you think kind of gives fans a good feel for the type of guy or person that he is and just what he's going to bring to the Giants in the locker room and on the field?
I'll probably go to that Notre Dame game when, shoulder really bothered him, couldn't use it at all. It was a play where, I'm thinking he's tired. He waved me off like, Coach, don't take me out this game. He's a competitor, so it's all about winning for him and being the best. So in that moment, you just see that he was on a different type of mindset where he's like, I might be tired, I might be hurt, but I want to win this game, so do not take me out in this situation.
That's terrific. And then the final one, I want to give me some insight into Penn State practice here. When Abdul Carter got here, he was talking to the media, and he says, in a very teammate-friendly way, I have some unfinished business with Theo Johnson on the practice field. Can you give us a window into what the battles are like between those two guys going up against each other at Penn State practice?
I mean, it's some violence going on, so, it's a lot of practices I can point to, but it's some violence going on, and it's going to be violent at the practices when the pass come on.
Coach, that's awesome, man. Anything we missed that you think fans should know about Abdul that we did not touch on?
Nah, I mean, that kid is about winning, and he's going to do everything he can do to that.
Coach Deion Barnes, defensive line coach for Penn State. Coach, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
Yep, no problem.
Oh, great stuff right there. Fantastic from defensive line coach for the Penn State Nittany Lions, Deion Barnes. Great stuff. Really good stuff on Abdul that I wasn't aware of. And we appreciate him joining us right here in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better.